sleeping through the night with or without night sweats? Check. Irregular periods, shorter, lighter periods, heavier periods,
It's
flooding,
all over the place.
flooding, phantom periods, shorter cycles, longer cycles. Check. Loss of libido, dry vagina, itchy vagina at time raw like can radiated from whole area with absence of yeast infection. God damn. Color change in vaginal area. Color gets darker, darker, red to purple. Damn. Crashing fatigue, chronic fatigue, check. Anxiety, feeling ill at ease, check. Feelings of dread, apprehension, doom, check. Difficulty concentrating, disorientation, mental confusion, check. Disturbing memory lapses, check. Incontinence, especially upon sneezing, laughing, urge incontinence, yeah, check. And that also comes with after having a kid. Prolapse of uterus due to rapid decrease in estrogen levels. Holy shit. Itchy, crawly skin. Aching, sore joints, muscles, and tendons. Check. Increased.
Welcome back to the channel. Everything's super peachy, right? So everybody's very much well aware of paternity fraud and all of the ugliness that comes with it. I think in the future, there's going to be something new on the block. And it's going to be just as detrimental, just as devastating, and just as evil. Listen to what happened because somebody got elected into the White House.
New Trump derangement has just dropped. Liberal / woke / Gen Z women have decided now to preemptively sterilize themselves to protest Donald Trump. Now, they aren't going to change the way they make decisions, their promiscuity or birth control. They just are having their tubes tied to own Trump. I don't even understand how this makes sense. What kind of doctor would do this? There's all sorts of strict regulations around even getting to have this procedure done as a woman. So I don't know what doctors are even doing this.
Now he says he's not sure what doctors would actually do it. It's not necessarily what doctors would do it. It would be what lengths women would do to trick said doctor who does it. That's the issue. They generally say below a certain age, they won't do it. But there are women out there who have created playbooks and know the key words to say if, let's say, I think it's under 25, when they kind of, especially where they're like, no, you're going to change your mind, or it might be 25. But they actually have found out, well, if you say this word and you make these statements, they're more inclined to do the procedure, even though they're well below the age which any physician, any sensible physician would do the procedure. But it's not the physician, it's the evil lengths that women would go to do something that is so impactful to not just them, but I'll get to that later.
It's bonkers to me. This is late stage TDS. Liberal women are undergoing sterilization and blaming Trump. The election tied my hands. Several liberal women have gotten sterilized or plan to, blaming their decision to become infertile on Donald Trump winning the 2024 presidential election. Again, they're not going to make any decisions around their own promiscuity. They're not going to make any decisions around, choosing their partners better. They're not going to make any decisions around, anything. No, they're just going to tie their tubes. They're just going to take their uterus and go home. That's quite literally what they're doing, acting as children do, to avoid any kind of responsibility.
What other organism, what other species, and the female of that species or organism on this planet would go to such lengths to go against nature? This isn't them having issues, legitimate medical issues, and for your safety, we're going to have to do this. This is What other organism does this? We always pat ourselves on the back of, superior species, most complex brains, and self-aware, and all these other things. But yet and still, we're the only species that does this insanity to ourselves. The female species of us that does this to themselves. Is it the intelligence that is the problem? It has to be, because, like I said, no other female species does this. There is no other female elephant, lion, penguin, giraffe, marlin, you name it. There is no other species that does these insane things, especially when they're contrary to the perpetuation of life, which every other species does. But we're the only ones, the female species of us. Yes, there are males that do it, but those are, I don't like the term, but the beta males who do that, who go out of their way to destroy their body in order to not be able to reproduce. But majority, the super uber majority, is females. The big brain has to be studied to find out why are we so destructive to ourselves. It's insane to me.
In interviews with Newsweek, the women include a loser OF model, said they were afraid that their reproductive rights were being taken away once Trump becomes president. Trump has repeatedly said he believes abortion is a state's issue, although his left-wing opponents have baselessly claimed that he will ban abortion. I mean, at no point, you look at Donald Trump, that's a guy that's had some abortions. I'm just saying. Like, that guy has paid some women the $50 for the morning after pill, all this kind of stuff. So I don't believe even for a second that he would ban it. He has never said he would ban it. This was a complete fabrication made up by the left to try and get women to get out there and vote against him. Of course, this will backfire now in the 2028 election when they try to make up some other lie against whatever Republican. And women look back and say, well, he didn't do it in 2016. He didn't do it in 2024. What am I even doing here? Eden Exoria, 25, who reportedly creates OF content, said the idea of getting pregnant is worse than death. Well, you could abstain. I'm just saying that's an option. You could abstain. She told the outlet she's making plans to have a bilateral salpingectomy, which is a procedure to have both of her fallopian tubes removed. For me, it was a call to action. I need to get this locked in so I don't have to live in fear.
Do they ever hear themselves when they talk like this? Do they replay the audio or reread the article written about them? Do they ever just like look over and just say, I'm just like way over top in my speech, in the words I choose to express myself? You're going to destroy your body to make sure that you don't have to worry about getting pregnant, because he wants to make it a state issue as opposed to a federal.
At any moment, some random guy could completely destroy my life. Maybe don't let random guys blow their load in you. Sorry to be so crass, viewers, but maybe don't be accepting random loads from random dudes. Maybe you should only be hooking up with people that you are willing to have a child with. Maybe you aren't thinking about it at the time, but at least you are understanding that, well, if this happens, maybe it's going to be okay. Lydia Eccles, 28, of Texas, also told the outlet that said she plans to have her fallopian tubes removed. If I am to be denied my rights in the next 4 years, I will not give them up without a fight. What are you not giving up? You're literally saying, well, they might get taken away, so I'm just going to take them away. These women, by the way, will completely regret this.
Absolutely.
Either that or they already weren't planning on having kids, and this is just copium. A 39-year-old who preferred not to be identified told the outlet that she had just gotten the procedure to have her fallopian tubes removed.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Insane.
She claimed she felt like she had no choice because of the election results. Has this woman never heard of condoms? Has she? Do they think that Trump's going to take away rubbers? Do they think that Trump?
Or maybe when she heard that 8 million for condoms over to Afghanistan or one of those countries, maybe she thought it was 8 million condoms was being sent over there, but it was $8 million. It wasn't 8 million condoms. We're going to run out of condoms. It was money for a country that thinks that those are against their religion, I think.
Trump's going to take away her ability to track her own cycle and know the 2 or 3 days where she shouldn't be accepting loads. Again, the men are just as responsible, okay? But women are also, these women who are like, I'm going to get my tubes removed. So not getting their tubes tied, they're sterilizing themselves for life. I'm not happy that I felt forced into surgery. I did not want to alter my body. I feel like the election tied my hands and forced me to be sterilized. That is horrible. Nobody forced you to do that. It's a states' right issue. Everybody knows that. So if you live in a state, if at worst you move to like a liberal state.
And I think that's the big issue. I don't think it's the fact that it's been assumed that he was going to just completely take it away when he just wasn't putting it say. And I think the fact that it was spoken of as it will be a states' right, I think a lot of them were like, well, what if it's not somewhere where I want to live that says, oh, well, you can perform the procedure in such and such state? What if it's states that don't have a good nightlife? What if it's a state that is not known for the 6 figures, 6-pack man to flock to visit, live, or party at? What if the states that allow it don't have the type of men that you're looking to lay with available? I think that's what it was about. I think it's the fear that, all of the states that are known for party hubs or travel and relaxation. I think that's what it's about. It's a fear that they will be forced to, in order to be able to do what they want, when they want, with who they want, and be able to get the procedure done, will be in states that they really not fond of. I think that's what it was.
Another woman who said her and her husband never wanted children scheduled an appointment to be sterilized in October, but had planned to cancel the surgery the day after the election, assuming Kamala won.
Getting back to the big brain, what other species of males go out of their way to not reproduce? I don't think any other species of animal other than humans think like that. Oh, the environment's so bad, it's not conducive with raising a child. If you have animals mating in deserts, mating in the tundra, mating in extremely hostile environments, but yet and still they still reproduce. We're the only ones who say, oh, well, I can't bring a child into this world because of the environment. I can't bring a child into this world because of war and death. We're the only, this brain is not a plus. It seems like a huge hindrance, considering no other species performs on itself, or not speaks, but moves in a way that is counterproductive or counterintuitive to making sure the species is still existing. Every other species has a drive to, no matter what, make sure that they make more of themselves. We're the only ones who go out of our way, predominantly with females and these circle of males that do that. I don't think we're as smart as we think we are. I think, what does it say? Whoever controls the pen controls the narrative of the war. Like if a lion could write, he would write of his accolades or hers accolades when it come to dealing with men one-on-one. I think we talked ourselves into believing that we're so superior, but every time I hear things like this, I'm like, we can't be the best of the best. We can't be.
With Trump's victory, we quickly learned that my choice to cancel the surgery had been taken from me. Everything's being taken from these women. They have no agency whatsoever. It's Donald Trump again. Donald Trump at it, taking away every bit of agency women have ever had. You know, Donald Trump is forcing them to have unprotected relations with men that they don't want to have kids with. Donald Trump is forcing them not to manage their own cycle, their own, fertility calendar. Donald Trump is forcing them to promiscuity, and then Donald Trump is forcing them to have the kid should that happen. When none of that. Why didn't they get it done when Roe v. Wade was overturned, by the way?
Yeah.
Many reports of leftists getting sterilized have arisen over the past few years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. By the way, I encourage this. By the way, just so we're clear, folks, I encourage unhinged leftists to get sterilized. I 100% support this behavior for them.
Okay, I see what he's saying, and I kind of agree, cold to her. Let's get some of this insanity out, because some of the stuff that's coming out of their mouth is mind-boggling. But now let me show you what they're not thinking about. I was not aware. I was not aware of the things that occur when you do tubal ligations. It's crazy. Hold on.
Well, can a tubal ligation cause an individual, a woman, to end up having poor health? And the answer is, of course it can.
Yeah, because you're going against your body. Why do we assume just because it's internally below the brain, it's not essential? You can do it and not have to worry about any consequences. Wow. Like I said, I was unaware, but I definitely didn't think it was something natural. I knew there would be issues, but what he says kind of threw me for a loop.
Each ovary has two sources of blood flow, one coming from the ovarian artery, one from the uterine artery. And when you tie off the fallopian tube, you cut off part of the blood supply to the ovary. To both ovaries have their blood supply cut off. And that can cause problems because obviously if you cut off the blood supply, the ovary is not going to function as well. It's not going to get the proper nutrients and oxygen that it needs to feel and operate and function properly. And that can cause a problem with low production of progesterone. Now, progesterone is the hormone of the second half of the menstrual cycle. All month long, a woman will make estrogen hormone, but in mid-cycle, when she ovulates, if she ovulates, in that area where the ovulation occurred, she produces progesterone to balance out the estrogen. It's a hormone that matures the inner lining of the womb and prepares it for pregnancy, but it affects every cell in the body, most importantly, brain function, the way we think and the way we feel. So in women, progesterone levels are low and decline as they march through their menstrual life. It can start right after the first baby, but routinely by the time a woman hits 35 or 40, she has lower and lower production of progesterone.
Is that what they talk about geriatric pregnancy? It's not geriatric. I'm not 80 years old.
And that means she's not balancing her estrogen hormones. Well, what does that lead to? Well, it leads to all the kind of symptoms women have when they have premenstrual symptoms. They can get mood swings, fluid retention, headaches, migraine headaches, weight gain, fatigue, inability to focus and think clearly. Why does all this happen? Is because the hormones are all interrelated. The sex hormones are interrelated with the thyroid hormones.
Now, makes sense. Now I'm gonna have you listen to a female who's actually, this is a doctor. I want to listen to a female actually describe what it's like to have after you've had your tubes tied.
So I started noticing, that I was getting heavier periods. I was actually getting cramps again. I hadn't gotten cramps since I was in junior high, like the first year or so that I actually started having periods, and they just kind of went away, And now I noticed that I was having them again. And I was like, what? This is weird, I started having more mood swings. I started actually having PMS, and I never had PMS before. I was one of those lucky few that never dealt with it.
Like the doctor said before, hormones completely thrown out of whack. And all because, not for her, but for these short-sighted, selfish, borderline insane, in my opinion, women, this is what they got to look forward to.
And also when I was using the Mirena, the 5-year IUD, I didn't have any periods, thereby not really thereby, but I didn't have any periods, and I didn't have any symptoms of PMS and all that. So once again, messing with the hormones, I'm assuming. Having the Mirena was awesome. For those of you out there that are watching this, by some chance, if you're considering getting a tubal ligation done, don't. Just go with the Mirena. Believe me, it's a hell of a lot better. Anyway, so, the depression, the anxiety, I started breaking out again. Started breaking out more. I started getting more oily. I started getting more facial hair. I started getting more, it was like I had an increase in testosterone or something. And it was just amplifying. I started losing more hair. I even got that, what is it? I don't know, forgot what it's called. Something alopecia or something like that. Where I got a big bald spot on the top of my head. Just hair just fell out, And, along with the anxiety, I was, of course, having insomnia, and I did have bouts of insomnia, just not as intense as when I was initially taking Wellbutrin, but I would have bouts of insomnia. And I'm just going to read you the list. And it's kind of a short list, but it's a list nonetheless. And for those of you that are actually considering getting the surgery, just reconsider, definitely. It says post-tubal ligation syndrome, aka PTS, is linked with basically menopause prior to being naturally ready for menopause, severe hormone imbalance, ovarian isolation, atrophic ovaries, hormone shock, increased risk of heart disease. God, I didn't even read that one. Bone loss and osteoporosis, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, PMS, endometriosis, severe pelvic adhesions, misplacement of female organs, decreased lactating ability. And it says symptoms of post-tubal syndrome. Ectopic pregnancy or pregnancy is a well-known risk if you've gotten your tubes tied. What are you eating?
He wants to say, happy birthday, Merrick.
Happy birthday, Merrick. Hot flashes, flushes, night sweats and or cold flashes, clammy feeling, chills, check. Bouts of rapid heartbeat, check. Irritability, check. Mood swings and sudden tears, check.
They're willingly putting themselves in this situation. 20s, 30s, 40s, they are willingly doing this to themselves. All because Trump bad. Why would you do something so drastic to yourself without looking deeply into you?
Trouble sleeping through the night with or without night sweats? Check. Irregular periods, shorter, lighter periods, heavier periods,
It's
flooding,
all over the place.
flooding, phantom periods, shorter cycles, longer cycles? Check. Loss of libido. Dry vagina. Itchy vagina at time raw like can radiated from whole area with absence of yeast infection. God damn. Color change in vaginal area. Color gets darker, red to purple. Damn. Crashing fatigue, chronic fatigue, check. Anxiety, feeling ill at ease, check. Feelings of dread, apprehension, doom, check. Difficulty concentrating, disorientation, mental confusion, check. Disturbing memory lapses, check. Incontinence, especially upon sneezing, laughing, urge incontinence, yeah, check. And that also comes with after having a kid. Prolapse of uterus due to rapid decrease in estrogen levels. Holy shit. Itchy, crawly skin. Aching, sore joints, muscles, and tendons. Check. Increased tension in muscles. Check. Breast tenderness. Decrease in breast mass. Holy shit. Well, yeah, I can see how that would have to do with hormones. Headache change, increase or decrease. Gastrointestinal distress, indigestion, flatulence, gas pain, nausea, irritable bowel syndrome. IBS. I've always had IBS too. It's weird. Sudden bouts of bloat. Yeah. Depression. Yup. Exacerbation of existing conditions. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Allergies developing or increasing. Yeah. Seriously. Isn't that weird? Maybe it has to do with having a weak immune system after all this depression and everything. Nasal infections necessitating antibiotics. Yup. Weight gain. Yup. Hair loss or thinning, head, pubic, or whole body, increase in facial hair. Yup. Dizziness, lightheadedness, episodes of loss of balance. Yup. Change in body odor. I don't think so. Electric shock or stabbing sensation under the skin. Yup. Tingling in the extremities. Yup. Gum problems, increased bleeding. Yup. Burning tongue, burning roof of mouth, bad taste in mouth, change in breath odor. Osteoporosis, after several years. Change in fingernails, softer, crack or break easier. Stabbing pains in pelvic area at time of ovulation. Yeah. Pelvic pain, development of adenomyosis. I'm not sure what that is. Development of ovarian/tubal cysts. Yes, actually. Decrease in lactation ability. Well, I'm not quite sure of that. But it says here the effect of postpartum tubal sterilization on milk production, the effects of blood supply being affected to the ovaries. Ovaries. Ovaries can become atrophic and shut down due to reduced or eliminated blood supply. The onset of PTS is not always obvious to the post-tubal woman. She may know that she is sick and she has suffered a health change, but she may not always be properly diagnosed. Yeah, because physicians are not wanting to acknowledge that this is a thing. The symptoms of hormonal imbalances are often seen in post-tubal women, are often misdiagnosed by the medical community as being heart conditions, chronic fatigue, common depression, IBS, common allergies, and so on. The medical community avoids hormone testing post-tubal women under the age of 40. These women are told that they are too young to be menopausal, when in fact often they are suffering from a hormonal imbalance or are postmenopausal. Severe and prolonged hormone imbalances of this nature can cause bone loss, heart disease, and can cause psychological symptoms that mimic mental illness and Alzheimer's. All from hormones, people, all from hormones. So I just kind of wanted to put this video out there. Totally goes against the grain of what I usually post.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. And these women are doing this to themselves all because somebody got into the White House. Not they're a bunch of grapists released from the insane asylum. Not because it's the great purge where you they're doing this because somebody's in the White House. This is madness. But I say all to say that this is not the worst of it. This is not the worst of it. I feel that the worst of it is, I say that to say this. Sometime in the distant future, not far away from now, but there's going to be an influx of men dealing with this. 16 years of marriage without children. Wife confessed today she actually lost her womb during an AB before I met her. 56 years old now. The willingness to be so inconsiderate to somebody who they have not met is going to be problematic. There's going to be an influx of men marrying women for the purpose of creating a family, having children with said woman. And they're going to be under the impression that something is wrong and spending thousands of dollars in the hopes of creating a family with the woman that they selected to be their wives. And they're going to put out money to try to rectify the problem, to only after the doctor specialist says, sir, there's nothing wrong with you. You're very motile. And then it's going to be a situation where she's going to have to tell the truth. She's going to have to tell the truth that she had her tubes tied years ago. I say all to say that there are going to be men dealing with this situation on such a grand scale. That's my prediction. Paternity fraud, horrible. Paternity fraud, selfish. Paternity fraud, evil. But there are going to be men in droves who have married a woman thinking that they're going to be having children with that woman. And she's going to lie. She's going to keep tubal ligations to herself. She's not going to share it with him. She's going to have him thinking that there's something wrong with him. She's going to have him thinking, we need to go to a specialist. Spending thousands of dollars. Tests. Oh, I'm going to insert Hank Hill in there. Narrow urethra. Have him convinced that there is something wrong with him. Or, oh, well, God said we shouldn't have children. It's written that it's just supposed to be you and I. There are going to be men who are going to be suffering just like this individual right here. Mark my words. This is just the beginning. Not exactly sure when the date that this was posted, but mark my word, there's going to be an influx of men finding out the woman that they married with the express purpose of building a family with has kept this secret from them. No different than paternity fraud. Instead of having a child there, thinking that the child is theirs. Oh, another year, no pregnancy. Another year, no pregnancy. 5 years, no pregnancy. And what are these men going to do? Because we've seen what men have done when they come to find out that all of the children that they've had with said woman wasn't theirs. And they've taken it to the extreme. I think that this is going to be the next phase. I think this is the next phase of, oh, well, why is he doing that? He should understand if he loved her, all those other things. I think that this is the next wave. I truly do believe. Anyway, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting below. Leave a message or share.
Take care.
Thank you.